moment of truth happens, there's feelings that come about that you don't really have control over. And no, not everyone has the same feelings. Just as some might feel a little fear with their anger, some might just pure rage. When the moment of truth happens, remove the mind for a second, where you control your thoughts and whatnot. What happens is you feel something, and that adrenaline that's running in the situation, you end up when it's a life or death scenario, when you believe for certain you're about to die. You might be able to stop it, maybe. But if you do nothing, you're dead. And that's a fact. That level of adrenaline makes you feel fight, flight, or freeze. And you got to understand that it's not something that you get to choose. I don't choose whether I feel fight or flight or freeze. I only get to choose how I react. So, I'm going to give you an example. A buddy of mine goes into the store, and while he's in the store, this guy has, see the back of his gun, and he's about to go rob the store. But my buddy's in the store. And I'm not going to let this guy go rob the store with my buddy in it. However, once I noticed the guy and he seen me, his attention went from the store to me. And he starts walking towards me while pulling his gun out of his hoodie. So I'm scared shitless. But here's what I feel. Here's what happens. I feel both fight and flight. I don't feel freeze, but I don't get to choose that. I didn't get to choose those two. I don't want to choose to feel flight. It just happens. And so that's the two that hit me. Fight and flight. I literally felt this crazy strong urge to leave my boy in the store to fend for himself, and me just get the hell out of there. Those aren't thoughts going in my head, but it's simply the feeling that I feel is flight, to just leave, to just go. Like someone's trying to kill me. Natural thought, feeling, go. So that those three things you feel, that fight, flight, or freeze, you're not in control of which one of those that you feel initially. You get to control which one you choose to do. I chose to fight. And I literally felt the coward or that flight feeling leave me as I chose fight. So I want that to be clear, because we have within the gun community, I've heard people talk about the fight, flight, or freeze deal. And, you know, a lot of people, you know, they'll say, oh, you know, you'll feel this, this, or this. And number one is, no, you don't only just feel one. You can, because I've felt where my, you know, all I felt was fight, and I didn't feel flight or freeze whatsoever. But that wasn't up to me, not the initial feeling. And so you don't get to choose that initial feeling. You just choose what you do about it. And so you can feel multiple. You know, you can feel freeze and flight. And then you got to choose which one you're going to act on. You can feel, hell, you can feel freeze and flight and yet choose to fight, even if you don't feel the fight instinct initially. You can choose what you want to do, because a lot of people say, oh, you know, Pete, you're either going to do, you know, A, B, or C, and yeah, you're either going to do A, B, or C, but the initial feeling, that is not your choice. You can feel all of them, but you can also choose to do opposite of what that natural instinct is telling you to do. You don't have to follow your flight instinct. You don't have to follow your freeze instinct. You don't have to follow your fight instinct. You can do what you want after you feel the initial feeling. So understand that, and let that be a something you keep in your head, because the mind is the most underrated part of all of this, guys and gals. The mind is where it's all at, you know. Honestly, if you don't have the mind part down, no matter how much skills you have, you're crap. Because you can be freaking instructor zero or Travis Haley all you want. Combine the two if you want. But if you have all those skills, yet that flight or freeze kicks in, and that's what you listen to and react to, and that's what you do, then your training just did nothing. You can train harder than anybody in the world, but you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what you're going to feel. You get that flight feeling and you go with it. You just go with that feeling, like, and just go with it. Your training means nothing. So the mind is extremely important. And I want you to keep that in your head. Understand and remember, you get to choose how you react to this. Just because that flight feeling comes in, or that flight or that freeze feeling comes in, doesn't mean you have to choose that. You can choose to fight and protect your loved ones, even if your initial feeling is to take off running, or you just freeze up. Sure, you may freeze up at first, but you can choose to snap out of that and fight. Remember that. That's your choice. Whammy out.